Hello, hi, how are you? I hope you're doing well and you've had your Christmas very well. And now, as we plan for the new year, it's important for us to begin planning for the trades that we're going to take this coming year. One of the stocks that I think will be an outlier in the year 2025 is Uber. And this is because majorly it has done its correction towards the end of 2024. So I'll look at Uber in this particular session and hope this will assist you make a decision on whether Uber is a good company to buy or not. So what you should know is that you should make sure you do your own analysis and make decisions based on your own analysis. So the first thing I usually want to do when I'm looking at a stock is to understand what the company does, and by that I'm able to know how the company makes its money and also how the company spends its money. So all this information can be sourced from TradingView, and you can use TradingView to try and understand more about these companies. So Uber Technologies basically provides a platform that allows users to access transportation and food ordering services. So the company operates under two segments. So there's the core platform and other bets. So the core platform segment consists of ride sharing and also Uber Eats. Then the other bet segment consists of Uber Freight and the new mobility platforms, where we're seeing Uber partnering with other companies just to try and bring new services such as the robo taxis. Then once I've looked at that, it's important for me to look at the financials, which are the fundamentals. And the most recent financial statements that have been released were for the quarter 3 2024, or the 9 months that end September 30th, 2024. So very important for me, what I look at there is the total revenue. So during Q3 2024, the total revenue for Uber was 11.18 billion, and this was an increase from 32. No, so and for the 9 months ended 30th September, the total revenue was 32.02 billion. So that just tells you the amount of money that is coming into the organization. So the income from operations was for Q3 alone was 1.06 billion, but for the 9 months that ended 30th September was 2.03 billion. Then we have the net income for that particular company. So for the Q3 we had 2.6 billion, but also for the 9 months that ended 30th September, we had a net income of 2.97 billion. Then after I've looked at these financial statements, just for me to understand how the company has been doing recently, also something that I picked very key from the financial statements that were released for the Q3 was that Uber has announced the pending acquisition of Food Panda in Taiwan from Delivery Hero SE for approximately 950 million in cash. So that's in dollars, and this is expected to close in the first half of 2025. So that tells you, so in the year 2025 we're going to experience more additional income coming from this acquisition, but the acquisition itself will take place in the first half of 2025. So also another key thing I saw in the financial statements that were released for Q3 was that in the beginning, so Uber is telling us that in the beginning of 2025, so Waymo and Uber will bring autonomous ride sharing to Austin and Atlanta only on the Uber app. So Waymo is robo-taxi that is being done by Alphabet, which is also known by many companies as Google. Then once I've looked at that, also very important for me to look at is the financial statements for at least the past 3 years. So one thing you'll notice from the financial statements of the company from the past 3 years, and this you can always find on your trading view. So what you just need to move is to go to the financial statements, and you'll see from an annual point where the company and how the company has been performing. So for the past 3 years, you'll notice that the total revenue, especially for the past 3 years. So in 2021 we had a total revenue of 17.45 billion, but in 2023 we closed the year with a revenue of 37.28 billion. Then we have the gross profit. You can see the gross profit also has increased from 5.57 billion to 11.56. Also very important is the earnings per share. Very important. So you will see it here. So the earnings per share also has moved from negative 0.26 and now we are positive 0.93. So that's very important. That's very important. Then also I'll look at the balance sheet just to see how the assets are doing and also how the liabilities of that particular company are doing. So assets also have remained quite stable. So you will see that in 2021 we had assets of 38.77 billion, but in 2023 we had assets of 37.70 billion. So I'm not concerned about assets whether they are growing or not. So what I'm concerned about is whether the assets can meet the liabilities if it were necessary for that to happen, because I know Uber is a service company, and because it's a service company, so it does not heavily need to rely on assets for it to generate more income. So the liabilities, you can see we are at 26.02 billion, and that is in 2023. Then once I've done my fundamentals, of course I'll do more than that, but once I've done my fundamentals, I'll go back to the charts and try and identify impulses and corrections. And this is important for me because they make me understand how the movements are happening. So what you'll see is that there was like a small impulse here, then we had a correction, an impulse, a correction, an impulse, a correction, then an impulse, then now we are having a bigger correction. So that's how markets move, and that's very important because that will assist us see where the next move is going to come from. So mine is to identify the impulses and the corrections, and then I can make a decision depending on where the market is on which position I should be taking. So that's the impulse. Then we had the correction. Then we had another impulse. Then we had a correction. Another impulse also as well. Then now what is happening now is a bigger impulse, and is a bigger correction. And after this bigger correction, we expect the price of this stock to keep going further further upwards. So we are at a good point, looking at also the moving averages. So we're below the moving averages, and we are at a good point for us to buy this particular company, especially since it has retraced more than 34% in just from the top that it reached in October 2024. So our recommendation for this company is as this. So since February 2024, Uber's stock has been undergoing a correction, and you can see that correction happening there since February 2024, largely driven by concerns over the rise of robo-taxis, potentially eroding the market share of traditional ride-hailing giants like Uber and Lyft. So notably, Waymo, which is Alphabet's autonomous vehicle division, recently expanded to Miami and now completes over 150,000 self-driving rides per week. So although these self-driving cars are coming in very heavily, I see a big challenge in terms of how these companies will be operating. They still will need people because at some point they need to recharge. I'm not very sure, or I'm not very certain of how these companies will recharge themselves. So Tesla is also set to enter the space with the planned robo-taxi launch late in 2025. So, however, what you need to know, and I think this we have already spoken about, is that Uber is not also sitting idle. The company is collaborating with WeRide and has launched autonomous mobility services in Abu Dhabi already, and is targeting fully driverless commercial vehicles by the late 2025 in the same region. So this demonstrates Uber's proactive strategy to stay competitive in the evolving ride-hailing landscape. So Uber is also looking to enter that space, and competition will happen because Uber already has a fast, being there the first advantage. So beginning in early 2025, so Waymo and Uber will bring autonomous ride sharing ride sharing to Austin and Atlanta, and this will only be available on the Uber app. So the sharp decline in Uber's stock, so down 34%, and this we saw here in the recent weeks. So the MACD indicator is also showing so the MACD indicator is also showing that we are having a zero crossover. We are having a zero crossover on this stock. So once we hit the zero crossover, we will confirm that a buy is coming and we should enter for the price to keep moving upwards. Hence suggesting that selling pressure may be nearing exhaustion, potentially signaling a trend reversal. The stock appears poised to recover and return to a more balanced supply and demand dynamic. So what's important for me is that what you need to note is that despite current challenges, so we expect Uber to remain very resilient and successfully navigate the market headwinds. We see the current price of Uber as a compelling buy opportunity with a target price of $100 per share for this particular for this particular stock. So this is the move we will be looking for in 2025 with our target at $100. With our target at $100. So the current price of this stock is 61.56. And I believe this is offering a very significant a significant risk to reward ratio, and this is a trade we should be able to take. And all the best, and have a new year, and hope we will make money. We shall update this stock once the price reaches 100, and I hope everyone will be profitable. Please do your own research before you take any positions, and all the best and good luck.